Hey, welcome back to Scary Stories Before Bed, human written horror that you can listen to before you go to sleep. My name's Ari. I try to write these once a week, so if you like these, please comment and follow. I recommend listening to these when you're in bed, relaxed, comfortable, and the lights are out. A security guard employed at the country's most prestigious Buddhist temple spent most of his days overseeing the cemetery watch. Although not belonging to the community, he understood that they had superstitions regarding their dead, hence why they employed someone to keep an eye out for would-be thieves. One morning, he was asked to be on high alert. A high-ranking donor of the monastery was to be buried there that day. Though not a religious person herself, the deceased was a long-time supporter of the community. She wished to be buried at the temple next to the others, and the abbots wanted to grant her last wish out of kindness. She had requested to be buried with her jewelry, her one fascination in life and material good that she struggled to part with, nearly $8 million worth of rare jewels. The temple buried her in a modest grave, perhaps to not invite potential grave robbers. The guard thought to himself, how crazy that more money than he had ever seen in his whole life was only a few inches of soil beneath the ground he stood on. It weighed on him so. He knew he was the only one who stood guard at night, the only one with access, the only one who knew where the equipment was and how to put things back the way they were without anyone noticing. And he justified it. The monastery has no use for it. And she's dead, so what's the harm if she's not using it anymore? Is it lost to time forever? In fact, looking at it that way, that's sort of unfair. It would be right to take it, to dig up this burial ground and put the jewels to real use. So that night, as if the universe was in his favor, a thick fog rolled into the cemetery grounds and obscured any cameras. He grabbed a shovel that had been used earlier and got to work. The closer he got, though, the more he felt that the air hummed. By the time he reached the casket, he could no longer ignore the sound. What was that? He looked up from his hole into the fog. It vibrated his body as the guttural chanting grew louder. He shouted, but couldn't even hear the sound of his own voice. The horns and chanting grew deafeningly, as if inside his head. He crawled out of the ditch, unable to quiet the hammering horns. Then he caught a glimpse of something in the mist. Two of them, dancing. He begged for them to stop, but the two seemed unable or uninterested in his pleas. Their thin figures shuffled to and fro to the sound of the mantras. As they drew closer, they would embrace playfully, never taking their eyes off the guard. The guard, crippled under the overwhelming rattle, shrieked inaudibly as pale, emaciated